scary moment for passengers on board a United flight in Houston, which had to be evacuated before takeoff because of an engine problem. Want to show you here. Passengers could see smoke and flames. Look at that through the windows before being told to get off the plane. You saw some folks sliding out those emergency chutes that deployed. No one was hurt. And while statistically speaking, commercial air travel is considered very safe, it is yet another incident putting passengers on edge. It comes as we're learning more tonight about the victims of the deadly medical plane crash that sent fiery debris into Northeast Philly. And then here in Washington, on that very same runway where that American Airlines regional plane was supposed to land Wednesday, instead tonight family members gathering to honor their loved ones. We have it all covered with our team on the ground in each of those cities, but we begin with Priscilla Thompson in Houston.
I'm with you. You can't take that. You have to leave it right here.
Harrowing moments in Houston when a United Airlines flight caught fire just before takeoff.
Please get us on this.
This video, a passenger shot showing flames coming out of the aircraft's wing. The New York-bound passengers appearing frantic as flight attendants urged calm.
Please remain seated until further.
First responders racing to the scene. United Airlines says that during takeoff, United Flight 1382 received an indication about one engine and halted the takeoff.
Which engine was it? There's engine 2. Is there indications right engine?
More than 100 passengers and 5 crew members were on board, United Airlines says, including Daria Amai Shelton.
You know, we had a big popping sound that was loud enough to startle me out of my sleep, and then the plane actually jolted to a stop.
She and fellow passengers seen here sliding to safety.
Seeing the smoke off the wing was really scary, and then seeing the intensity of everyone just trying to get off the plane orderly was a lot.
Passengers left waiting on the runway with the plane before officials say they were bussed back to the terminal. The FAA says they will investigate. Tonight, those United Airlines passengers finally in the air after an early morning takeoff scare.
Priscilla joins us now live from George Bush Intercontinental Airport. Priscilla, what are the next steps in this investigation?
Yeah, Hallie, this plane will be taken out of service in order to be inspected and repaired before it can fly again in the hopes that something like this does not happen again. Hallie?
Priscilla Thompson, thank you. New details tonight on what exactly an American Airlines flight did just seconds before that crash over the Potomac River on Wednesday. Aaron Gilchrist has the latest from Washington, where victims' families today gathered to honor the lives lost.
A somber gathering on runway 33 today. Dozens of loved ones of the 67 victims of the Potomac plane crash attending a memorial service at the river's edge. Parents and children, siblings and spouses all in mourning near the crash site of an Army helicopter and American Airlines Flight 5342. Tonight, officials laying out a plan to salvage the aircraft wreckage with a massive crane already in position on the water.
I think we've done everything to set the conditions for a successful lift starting tomorrow morning. Our goal is to really lift as much as we can, given the fact that we are also accounting for the human remains component.
This as we learn new details about the plane's cockpit recording captured moments before the collision.
At 8:47:58, the crew had a verbal reaction.
NTSB officials say the airplane crew heard directions to the chopper to pass behind them and tried to pull up at the last second.
Sounds of impact were audible about 1 second later, followed by the end of the recording.
Investigators have flight data and voice records from the regional jet. They also have data from Reagan National's control tower, one showing the collision at 325 feet, the other at 200. They still need to read the data from the helicopter recorder.
Between those three, whenever we have those data points finalized, we feel that we'll be very comfortable in saying exactly what altitude this occurred at.
We're also hearing more about the soldiers killed in this tragedy. 28-year-old Staff Sergeant Ryan O'Hara, a helo repairman, had served since 2014. He leaves behind a wife and a 1-year-old son. Our Priya Shrather spoke to his parents in Georgia.
It's just so surreal to see them actually take that body bag out with the flag on it and the officers all saluting and knowing my little boy isn't there.
And 28-year-old Captain Rebecca Lobach from Durham, North Carolina, joined the Army in 2019. Earlier this year, as a White House military social aide, she escorted Ralph Lauren as he received President Biden's Medal of Freedom Award.
She's constantly pushing herself to be better, to exceed the expectations, to exceed the standard.
Aaron is joining us now. And Aaron, we understand crews are expected to start pulling the wreckage out of the river tomorrow. How long will that take?
Hallie, the Army Corps of Engineers says it should take about 3 days to remove the plane wreckage from the river. After that, they'll focus on removing the helicopter, ultimately turning everything over to the NTSB. Hallie?
Aaron Gilchrist for us at Reagan tonight. Aaron, thank you. In Philadelphia tonight, a major break in the investigation into the crash of a medical jet into a neighborhood there. Investigators say late tonight they have found the so-called black box, the plane's cockpit voice recorder, which is so important to any accident investigation. Emily Aketa is there.
Tonight, new images of the force of impact from the deadly plane crash in northeast Philadelphia. Investigators standing in the crater left behind. That's where they found a key piece of evidence, the cockpit voice recorder that looks similar to this. The medevac plane nosedived less than a minute after takeoff before exploding Friday night. Officials now reporting that furious blast injured 22 people.
5 of the victims remain hospitalized currently, and 3 of them are in critical condition.
Andre Howard's 10-year-old son remains in the hospital after he was struck in the head by metal while in their car.
The way it landed, it was only because he's laid on his sister. It landed right on the right side of his head.
He was protecting his sister.
Yes, and he's my superhero.
He's your superhero.
He's my superhero.
Officials say 7 people died, including all 6 Mexican citizens on board the Learjet 55. A family friend remembering Lizette Maria Osuna as a warrior for her daughter Valentina. The young girl was receiving treatment at Shriners Children's Hospital for 4 months and finally returning home on Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. The company says it flies 600 to 700 flights a year and has had one other fatal crash in its 27 years of operating.
Any accident is cause for concern, but in terms of medevac airplane accidents over the past few years, it's been fairly stable. They're very safe. That's why they get a lot of attention when they do occur.
Emily is joining us now from Philly. So, Emily, what else are we learning now tonight about this cockpit voice recorder they found?
Allie, that cockpit voice recorder was recovered just beyond those police cars behind me in the crater 8 feet deep. The NTSB also found both of the plane's engines and a warning system that they say could provide additional important information. Hallie?
Emily,